What's going on, everybody? Ratchet Wrench is back for another video. Today we actually hit the 6-month mark of owning this Audi S3, so we're pretty much just going to do like a breakdown and like a 6-month review, and ultimately if this Audi S3 is worth it if you're in the market for one, and just kind of go over what we've done, talk about the 6 months of owning this car. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So first thing we're going to get into, pretty much if you're new to the channel, I'm just going to go over briefly what mods I have done to this. This is Stage 2. We are partnered up by EQT Tuning, and they give us all the, this DSG tune along with the Stage 2 ECU tune. Right now I have the CTS turbo intake, I have an ECS blow-off valve, like the little atmospheric dump, and then the CTS turbo inlet piping. That's pretty much all I have for the engine bay. I will link all that stuff down below. So I really do highly recommend those 3 parts, but they do just give me a peace of mind. It really dumps, colder air into it. Luckily with this little bracket here, it kind of channels air in, which is nice. Yeah, to help with my gas mileage, throttle response, definitely cool sound. Turns a lot of heads when I drive by. And then that's pretty much that for the intake side. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes that really unlock this performance. It is the downpipe. I went with the CTS Turbo 3-inch high flow catalytic converter downpipe, and this just allowed me to really tune it and wake up this car. If you guys want to see more about the tune, EQT, I'll link that video up above now. So that's enough about the mod. Let's hop in, go for a drive, and talk about this review. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to really mention is this car I picked up 6 months ago at 40,000. I'm now at 46,000, almost 47,000 miles. And at this point in time, I highly recommend this car. It is a blast to drive. It's fun, it's quick, it's reliable for as the duration of my ownership so far. I will have a couple things negative to say about it that I will get to a little bit later in the video. If you're a Volkswagen or Audi enthusiast, around this time there is a pretty big service. It's the 40,000 mile service, and you definitely need to do that. So if you're in the market for an S3, A3, RS3, whatever the car is, just keep in mind that they do have a hefty service. And for the 40K, that was pretty much spark plugs, air filter, oil change. It was a DSG fluid change along with the Haldex fluid, which is pretty much the all-wheel drive system. The DSG and the Haldex are a must to change. So just keep that in mind if you ever buy one of these cars, because they are crucial and very important. But other than that, it's been very fine. This is my daily driver. It has a lot of power regardless of the tune. Now it has just even more power. But if you want something fun, quick, I upgraded from a Mark V GTI, and I thought that was quick Stage 2. This is just all around fun. Those boosted launches, all-wheel drive, definitely reliable. If you're searching for an all-wheel drive car in the German variety, this is somewhat affordable, especially pre-facelift, which was 2016 and 2017. 2018 up, it might be a little more out of your budget range. One thing that I will mention that I did have an issue with this car is it's such low profile tires, and I actually, in driving in Jersey, there's a lot of potholes, and I was on this one back road that I couldn't avoid hitting that pothole because it was narrow and there was a car coming at me, so it was either hit the pothole or hit the car, and I chose to hit the pothole. But to elaborate on that, these tires are such a low profile. I'll put it up on the screen. It's 245, so on and so forth. I forget off the top of my head. They're not a common tire size, so there's not a lot of brands out there that make them. And of course, with an all-wheel drive system, you have to at least have axle matching tires. If you mismatch, you could have issues with the all-wheel drive system. And people don't believe that, but it is true. You could up that whole system, and that's a very costly mistake. Being so low profile is I tapped the pothole, like I literally wasn't going fast over it at all. It is unfortunate that just tapping that pothole popped the tire. Usually if you have a standard Toyota Corolla or another car that doesn't have such a lower profile, the meat on the tire will kind of compensate for that pothole, but unfortunately it didn't in this case, and I had to replace that. And these tires are not cheap. Like I said, there's not many brands that make them. It's such an odd size. I had to go with Continental Pro Contact to match, and it was like $350 or something like that, and then of course the mount and balance fee. So I think that is an issue. Even talking to Audi techs back in the day, they always say that the tires tend to go flat very often. So it might not be a pothole. It's unfortunate that it happens to be that way, but that's one downfall about this car, is the tire tread size. So other than the tire issue, like I said, in the beginning, there's a lot of maintenance that goes into this. Unfortunately, they're not cheap. Off the top of my head, the oil change I did myself. You know, you got to get the mobile one or the Castrol fully synthetic along with a filter. It was around like $60, $65, $70. So that off the bat is pretty expensive. The spark plugs are not cheap. The DSG fluid and filter, I'll link down below if you want to get that. It's from ECS Tuning, and they have genuine Volkswagen / Audi parts. Actually, all Euro needs. They have a bunch of genuine products, so I'll put them down below. I'll link everything that I suggest doing, especially if you buy a car with the higher mileage. And if you're going used, most of the time they do have a lot of higher mileage. It's a blast for me. I did do a bunch of mods right off the bat. If you are inquiring about one of these cars and you're stopping by to see my 6-month review, I would recommend definitely doing an intake right off the bat. The turbo inlet definitely frees up some restriction from the the little stock one. It's very restrictive, so that's a very good piece to have, and it's fairly cheap. So definitely you're going to want to get the downpipe. And if you really want an exhaust, unfortunately these MQB platforms tend to sound like a Honda Civic. No offense to the Honda owners, personally it's not my cup of tea. It's very high pitched. I'll put a video up above on how this car sounded with the downpipe and the AWE switch path catback. If I were to do it again, and if you're in the market for one, I'd highly suggest maybe not even getting a catback. If you want to tune it, you have to have that downpipe, and if you put the downpipe paired with the catback, it just sounds horrible. So it's a hard trade-off to have, but like I said, I wanted to tune this thing, so I got rid of the catback, and I ended up just putting a resonator delete, which I'll kind of display now. You can hear it. I think the resonator delete with the downpipe is a perfect sound for the exhaust. It's not high pitched. And I think it's just a perfect note, in my opinion. Everyone has their own taste, but I'll link that resonator delete down below, because that is a really good product to have, especially if you're trying to get some sound out of this rather than the stock, just, hefty resonator. I do have the burble tune on this. Hopefully the GoPro's picking that up for you guys. I'll insert that now.
Sounds so good.
And then I got that turbo flutter paired with the atmospheric dump. It just sounds wicked. It turns heads. A lot of people are like, what is that noise coming at you? So pretty much just to sum it up with the mods and everything, this S3, you could get away with a lot of power. I don't want to talk too much about it because I do have a video explaining it, but you get a lot of power relatively cheap for these cars. So the downpipe is a must in the intake, and I highly suggest that. Alright, so enough of me talking about it. Let's show you guys how this thing sounds.
Dude, that thing legit sounds like a freaking machine gun going off. It's so sick. I love this car. Here it comes.
So as you can see, this thing is definitely a blast. Those back roads were just so much fun to really let loose on it. Yeah, we were abiding by the speed limit, of course. We were accelerating to the speed limit, that's what it was. But ultimately, after a 6-month review, that right there explained it. This car is a blast. It's quick, it's fun. There's no other ways to describe it. It's pretty reliable. It all depends on each car's condition. If maintenance was neglected, of course, when it's used, you never know what the previous owner did to it or not. So it is pricey to own one of these. It is fun, and I highly recommend this. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about this, just drop it down below. We'll be sure to answer them to the best of our ability. If you're looking for one and you have any questions, on where to buy it, what to look for, I could definitely help you out as much as I can. But highly suggest this car for the enthusiast, man. This is a blast, and that's all I really could say. We got big plans for it. We did partner up with ECS Tuning, so we are going to be doing, I don't know if we're going to go bags or coilovers, but we got some thinking to do. Definitely some aesthetic mods, lip, side skirts, rear diffuser, duckbill, and so on and so forth. I'll get into that later in a different video, but until now, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.